Welcome to the AJ Awesome Show, a show about my favorite things. My name is AJ and my special guest for this episode is Speedball Mike Bailey. I hope you like the show! What was the moment you knew you wanted to be a wrestler?
It was when I was but a young child and I saw Kane trying to set the Brood on fire as I was flipping through the channels on my television. And I had two older brothers that I play fought with all the time without having a clue what pro wrestling was. So when I saw that and like the how much fun, despite like they were trying to set each other on fire, so I get it, but it still looked like they were having a lot of fun, and that resonated with me. And immediately, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Wow, this is my thing. This is what I would like to do." I was probably about 7, I think.
Who is your favorite wrestler?
Back to my brothers. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, right? As I have a sister as well. So I was sort of always like the smaller guy who had to rely on speedness. So that's who I always kind of resonated with. So everyone was huge, and he's not a small guy, but he looked small compared to everyone else back in the day. But X-Pac was someone I liked a lot, and then Matt Hardy as well for roughly the same reasons. And then when I got older and got into indie wrestling and I was doing martial arts, then guys like Low Key and Amazing Red and AJ Styles, who had a more flashy athletic style, is who I wanted to see, is who I enjoyed the most.
What advice would you give a new wrestler?
Figure out what you bring that is different than anyone else. My best advice for someone who wants to become a wrestler and hasn't done that yet is go do something else. Figure out what you're good at, find a skill, and then bring that to professional wrestling. In the same way, like wrestling this is something I've been saying a lot recently on my own stream and just in conversation, but wrestling is beautiful because it's multifaceted, right? There's many aspects to it, and you can be terrible at one thing, and that's okay because you're in control, and you can still be an amazing pro wrestler and like enjoy the sport the way it's meant to enjoy because you're good at something else. So find what it is that is your strength, and that helps you stand out, and that makes you more than just a pro wrestler.
Kind of like how you were saying, find something that you're good at and bring it into pro wrestling. I think is what you're talking about, kind of how Elias was good at guitar, so he brought that into his gimmick.
So exactly. But in a broader sense, it would be like Elias is a very good wrestler, but compared to all the people that he's wrestling, he's not the absolute best. But he has, like, it's more than just music. It's just he has this great charisma. He has this great thing that he can do. He has, it's the guitar is a skill, but the way he's able to bring that back into pro wrestling is even more specific. But yes, if like any skill that you have, you can bring to pro wrestling. Like, it's not limited to anything. People say, oh, like martial arts. Martial arts applies very directly to professional wrestling, but you can still be a great like improvisational comedian and bring that to wrestling and have it be just as well. Just like you can be a great singer and bring that to pro wrestling.
What type of TV shows do you like to binge watch?
So binge watch is a series. I mean the classic series. And cartoons. So like my four favorite shows that will answer your question quite well. Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, The Simpsons, and Adventure Time.
Right now I'm trying to binge watch The Simpsons.
Yes.
Basically at season 9.
So you're doing it in order from season 1 going forward?
Uh-huh.
So that's weird. Because like the way I started watching The Simpsons probably in like 1990 something, I don't know, when the series had gone on for quite a while, and it was only on TV, right? But I could watch like 4 or 5 episodes a day. Coming back from school, there would be like 2 episodes, and then there would be an hour with nothing, and then 2 more episodes, and then another one at night or something. And it was just like all mixed up, random seasons, random numbers. And then several years later, when I watched The Simpsons, like in order, And so like the evolution of the show and just of the way it looks, I thought was pretty fascinating. So I think it's weird that you're getting to do that on your first watch. Had you seen a lot of Simpsons before?
No, I haven't really seen a lot of The Simpsons.
Who's your favorite character so far?
Probably Bart.
Bart. Okay, that's a pretty good answer. That's a pretty classic answer. He gets a lot of play. So, then who's your favorite secondary character that isn't one of the Simpsons?
Probably the principal, maybe?
Principal Skinner is absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
Or the dude that opens the comic book shop.
Comic book guy. He doesn't have a name. He's just comic book guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is Barney because I find that out of all the secondary characters, Barney has the most depth. Like the joke is that he's an alcoholic. He drinks a lot of beer and that kind of ruins his life. But when he is able to put the alcohol aside and focus on something, he's always great at it. Like, did you see the episode with the film festival?
Yeah, he did the really good film.
He did the really good film. Did you see the episode where they go to space, where Homer goes to space?
I think.
Right? So Homer and Barney are training to be astronauts, and Barney is doing amazing. He's doing so much better than Homer. But then at the end, he has a drink, so everything goes off the rails, and Homer gets to go to space. And I think that's a really, really fun plot device, and that adds a lot to his character.
And then there's also that one time where Barney set aside his alcohol and he tried to sing and he got really good.
Yes, he was a great singer in the B Sharps. And see, that's all the like. It's amazing. I think that's hilarious always.
Do you prefer wrestling in a tag team or singles match, and why?
I prefer. Typically, I prefer wrestling in singles matches because that's what gives me the most room to tell the story and create something that I want. However, I'm very lucky in that over the last few years, I've had two very, very, very good tag team partners. In Japan, I'm a part of the Moonlight Express with Mao, who is a Japanese wrestler, and he's a lot younger than me. I think he's 23, maybe 24 now. But he's absolutely crazy. He does a lot of hardcore matches. He's known for the president of the company of DDT is also a wrestler, and one thing he's known for is hitting him with cars. Like he got in a van and he rammed him, and then they had a car chase in one match at one point. Really wild stuff. So he's crazy, and I love his outlook on wrestling. And then my other tag team partner is Veda Scott, who is my partner in real life also, who I believe you have also interviewed.
Yeah.
And yeah, her mind for wrestling is just, she's incredibly creative, and the way she looks at it is different than I do, but we have the same like end goal, the same perspective on it. And teaming with her is one of the most fun things I've ever done in professional wrestling.
What is the proudest moment of your career?
Wow. That's a hard question, because I feel like I have a new one every month. Like, I think in not as a moment, but my biggest accomplishment in professional wrestling, as well as in life, is just that I've been able to improve like continuously. Like my biggest accomplishment in life is that every year that I've been alive has been better than the last. I can't look back on, even though the last year was hard for everyone, I still think it was the year where I've been the happiest and I've grown the most. And same thing in wrestling. So what sticks out to me is basically the last time that I got to have a big match in front of many people, which was against Bandito at WSW 16 Carat. And we just had a fantastic match. Like, that objectively was very good, and I was very proud of it. And then like after it was in Germany, and in Mexico, when the audience really appreciates a match, they throw money into the ring that the wrestlers can take, and they did that as well because he's Mexican. But we're in Germany, and they still decided to throw money into the ring just to show their appreciation. And that was a really, really big moment for me. And yeah, I felt very proud then.
What is your favorite cheat meal?
So I've been going hard at pizza lately. I don't have like I don't have a super restrictive diet. I also I've been, being careful about food for a very long time. I have a lot of cooking experience. I went to cooking school when I was younger, and so I'm not the kind of person that will like purposefully eat things that are like that don't taste good, that are bland for dietary purposes. Like my meals, they're all relatively low in calories, or rather, yeah, relatively. They're all the quantities that I want, but they're all really, really good because I know how to do that. So cheat meals aren't such a thing. However, the one thing that I need to have at every cheat meal that I absolutely can't have during my regular meals because it's so high in calories is barbecue sauce. Yeah. So like anything, I like pizza, but my favorite aspect of pizza is like dipping the crust in barbecue sauce. And it's usually the most like the biggest amount of things that I can have that I can then dip in barbecue sauce. That's what I want.
On the topic of pizza, what are your
Yes.
favorite pizza toppings?
I gotta say it. I love pineapple.
Yeah, I do too.
Good. I am very glad. I love I think anything pickled goes great on a pizza. Like olives and artichoke hearts and pickled peppers, hot peppers. I think that's all delicious. I do like a very spicy meat. A spicy pepperoni, I think, is very nice. But there's just something about that sweetness of the pineapple. That so a Hawaiian pizza where you have that like caramelized bit of sweetness from the pineapple, you have that saltiness from the ham, and then you dip that in barbecue sauce. The best.
My favorite would be a mix of pineapple and pepperoni.
Perfect choice for the same reasons as well. You get the sweet and the spicy and the contrast of the flavors, and perfect.
And what would you say is your favorite dish to cook?
My favorite, so it would not be a complicated one. I do so this is what I make for Veda every time I can because she loves it. Do you know what tabbouleh is?
No.
Okay, so it's mostly a Lebanese dish, right? Which is mostly chopped parsley. This is the classic version is chopped parsley, thinly diced tomatoes and cucumber, some mint, some a grain, usually bulgur, which is like a type of wheat, basically, and then dressed with olive oil, salt and pepper, and lemon juice. But like I grow on that, and I make a big chopped salad, just basically a big lot of vegetables, finely chopped with lemon juice and olive oil, and it's absolutely delicious. And I love chopping things. I love knives. I love cutting food with a sharp knife. That is one of the most satisfying things to me. And so making a big old chopped salad always makes me very happy.
From what I've seen and heard on the internet, chopping like kinetic sand and stuff is also really satisfying.
So I do watch a lot of videos of that on my Instagram. It's very dangerous when I go down that rabbit hole and just start looking at videos of satisfying things being chopped. I try to stay away from that.
If you could wrestle anyone in the world, alive or dead, who would you pick?
Kenny Omega, for a couple reasons. One is he right now is having the best matches in the world. He's doing the coolest stuff, and he's like his match with Okada, as like wrestling as a whole has gotten better over time, right? People have just figured out how to do it, and the envelope has been pushed. And I think wrestling right now is the best it's ever been, and he's been having the best matches in that era. Also, he and I have wrestled before in PWG, and when I wrestled him was one of those moments of which there have been many in my pro wrestling career where I felt, man, this guy is way better than me. I really want to get on that level because I am not there yet. But since I've went to Japan, I've spent many years there, and I've wrestled for DDT, which is the promotion that Kenny like did a lot of his learning in as well. And I feel like a lot of the things that he was doing and he knew and just came naturally to him back then that I didn't have is stuff that is like not commonplace in DDT, but stuff that is important there, like stuff that is important to their values. And I feel like I've learned that, and I would love to have another go and be able to. The match was still great, despite me not being ready for it in a sense. And I think now, knowing everything I know now, we could have an even better match, and I would love that.
I saw on an article, I don't know if it's true or not, but on the article it said that he wants to have a rematch with you.
He did tweet that, and I will hold him to that.
What is your favorite sport besides wrestling?
Taekwondo, which is a martial art that I've been doing since I was probably about your age. I'm a big fan of martial arts as a whole. I like Taekwondo for many reasons. Like I honestly like you hear this a lot in between martial arts, and everyone thinks that their style is the best, whatever. I think all martial arts are pretty much the same. But I think Taekwondo is a lot of fun, and I think it allows for a lot of like freedom of movement more than many other martial arts. And so I think for that, it's very enjoyable.
Is there anything else you would like the viewers to know about you?
Now that's a hard question. Other than just my plugs, which I assume we will get to later, I take professional wrestling very, very seriously. And I think that it deserves to be broken down a lot more than it is and studied. And I have a very, very specific and scientific approach to it. And I wish it was explored more. And I think pro wrestling is complex and interesting enough that we don't need to like hide anything about it, like, and pretend that it's real in order to make it enjoyable. And I feel like if people understood it better, they would enjoy it more. Much like when you watch like the DVD extras. I don't know if that's a thing you're familiar with, but like the behind the scenes of a movie that explain how this shot was filmed, and then you watch it again and it's even better. I think wrestling is a lot like that. And that's why I try so hard to, when I go on shows like yours, to just be fully honest about everything and explain a little bit more, and hope that makes people enjoy it more.
Where can people find you on social media?
I'm at Speedball Bailey on Instagram and Twitter. I have a Twitch channel as well. I've been starting to upload some YouTube videos. So look out for those. But the most important thing you can do to help someone in my position or in your position, AJ, is the same thing. Tell your friends. If you like something, then share it on the internet. In the days where we are slaves to an algorithm that decides what people get to see or not see, shares and likes and follows and subscribes and just clicks that are all completely free are worth so much more than money. So thank you in advance for that.
That's the end. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the AJ Awesome Show. I'd like to thank Mike Bailey for being my special guest. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.